Umbrella Gang, we finally did it. We hit Platinum 1 in Master Duel. With what deck, you may ask? Tribrigade Lyrilusc. What is up, all you beautiful people? It is I, AkemiTCG, back with a brand new video. And today, I'm going to break down my free-to-play deck that got me into Platinum 1 in Master Duel. If you don't know what Platinum 1 is, pretty much as of right now, as of January 25th, the recording of this video, this is the highest rank you can achieve in this game. Obviously, they're going to make it higher, like you can go to King of Games and etc. Probably kind of like how they did in Duel Links. But I'm going to show you guys my build, and if you are skeptical on whether or not I'm free to play, I literally have not spent a single dollar on this game. 0 gems, and I currently still have 2,300 gems. I had a lot more, but I started building Zodiacs, so now we have 2,300 gems. Some missions I gotta do. I haven't done any of solo. If like, I think I did some of the Monarch, but that's it. So that just comes to show, like, you can just go competitive immediately if you know what you're doing with the games, if you know how to beat your opponents, if you have fundamental knowledge on how to play this game at a high level, then you should be okay. You should be able to grind to Platinum 1. Also, before we start, if you guys want to see my win-loss ratio, I'm just going to show it right here. So as of Plat, inside Plat, for the past 20 duels, I've only lost 1, 2, 3, 4. Out of the past 20 duels, I've only lost 4 duels. So that's a pretty good indication of how well this deck is performing. Let's get to the deck profile. So I'm going to show you guys my build and talk about my thought process throughout pretty much, you know, each of the cards I've chosen in this deck. So let me see. Okay, here we go. Perfect. So this is my build for Tribrigade Lyrilusc, and I want to talk about a couple of things that I have. I did not buy 3 Max Cs. I only have 2 Max Cs, and I'll get to that in a second. And then also don't have 3 droplets, but let's go right into it. I wanted to make the main deck 40. I wanted to make it clean cut. 40 is the most consistent way to play Yu-Gi-Oh! For some decks, or for most decks actually. If you're playing 40 cards, you just have the highest chance of drawing the cards you need. So I'm going to start with 3 Droll. I'm main decking 3 Droll. Some people are main decking 3 Imperm. Droll stops a lot of the decks in the game right now. And also, at the same time, it also stops your opponent Max C from going off completely. So think of this as like another call by, but at the same time, it stops your opponent from playing. Like, for a lot of the matches I face, Drytron, Striker, Salamangreat, even the Mirror, Heroes especially, this card turns off so many decks that you should be playing 3, especially if you're also playing Max C. It just makes sense to play 3 Droll. It's a really, really good card. Next, for the other stuff, we have 3 Cobalt Sparrow. This one is, if you special, you get the Search. Probably the most, in my opinion, the best one. Next to Sapphire Swallow, you only play 2 of these because you need this plus another Wing Beast in your hand to make full use of it. So I only play 2 of these. I usually just tend to search this card, but if you open this card in Nerval, you're pretty cracked, especially if you have another bird. Turquoise is a free special summon. I'm just playing 2. I feel like 2 Sapphire, 2 Turquoise, and 2 Barrow is the correct way to play. With Barrow, you can literally normal summon any of these guys, link it off into Salamangreat Almirage, and then just use Barrow. Of course, you're going to be locked into Exceed summoning, but you still make a Draco Future, which is still very, very impressive on its own. Then you can set up for next turn. But I only like this card at 2 because by itself, it really doesn't do much. You don't really want to draw multiple copies, so I think 2 is the right number. And just 1 Wagtail. I only ever want to see Wagtail when I search it. And if I've already searched it and I haven't used Bird Call this turn, cool. But most of the time, I have a combination of probably one of these birds and a Bird Call, so I don't really need Wagtail that much. Next, I have 2 Max C. I could play 3 Max C. I'm just trying to figure out the ratios here, but what worked for me best was literally just 2 Max C, 2 Droplet. I could bunk it up to 41 and play a 3rd Max C, but that's something I'll be considering. Obviously, you want to play 3 Karis because you have to dump one of your other Tri-Beast cards and this special summon it. 2 Kit. Kit is practically full combo, but you really only need to play 2. because you are also playing, you know, 3 Nervo, which is the best card, the best Tribrigade card, because there's so much synergy with everything else. So I feel the 2 kit is optimal. 1 Ash, you could just honestly take out this Ash for possibly another Max C, but I just think it's wicked funny when you Max C, they take the challenge and they draw into Ash and or Droplet and or Twin Twisters. I just think it's very funny, and I got the 1 free Ash from the pack, so I just took advantage of that. I've had several times where I've literally Max C'd someone, drawn the Ash, and used the Ash at the right time to win me the game. Next I have the Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds. Neither player can special summon monsters except for wind monsters. You kind of need to play this card. This card is so essential. Unless you're playing the mirror, when you go blind first and you just make your board, then you end on a Barrier Statue in defense, especially in defense. They can't really Lightning Storm your board to get rid of it. And just having this in defense and knowing you're not playing the mirror, some decks just straight up lose to this card. And like, let's say like worst case scenario, they have to normal summon a monster that's over 1,000 defense and then try to run it over. And I think it's just super funny when they have to do that. And obviously 3 Fractal, because this dumps one of your birds, depending on the situation. If you have Barrow in hand, or if you have Warbler in hand, you can use Fractal, discard Cobalt, and then just start playing the game. There's a lot of different applications with this card, and you have to play 3 of this. And 1 Avian, obviously 3 Bird Call, 2 Tenki. I wanted to fit in another Tenki, but we do have 2 Twin Twisters. It's just in this particular format, I'm more worried about back row, especially since we don't have a side deck. So during games 2 and 3, which don't exist, you'd have better options. But if you're playing in a format where you literally have a coin toss, you don't know whether you're going first or second, you need to kind of adapt and play as many hybrid cards as possible. There's no like pure like going first, I have to go first or else I lose the game. You simply cannot play like that, and that's why I have to main deck the 2 Twin Twisters as well. So you cut off a little bit of the Tenki support, where the Tenki is literally just your extra copies of Fractal. If you draw Fractal Tenki, it's kind of redundant, just a heads up, so you don't necessarily need to play 3. Unless you're playing the Zodiac though, then that's a little bit different obviously. 2 Call By, obviously they hit you with a Max C, they hit you with a Droll, Ash, whatever. If you need to use the Call By, you use it. If you don't need to use it at that specific hand trap, you can just hold on to it. And then 2 Forbidden Droplet for breaking boards. So the idea is you want to open either the 2 droplets or one of the droplets, one of the Maxis, or one of the Drolls. And in any game, you open the droplet, the Maxi, or the Droll, I've won. Except for this one matchup where my opponent Lightning Stormed me. I chained Apex Avian to negate, and then he chained Forbidden Droplet, sending his Lightning Storm, and he was playing Phantom Knight, so I lost there. But it does happen. However, that was literally only 1 game out of probably the 40 or 30 games I've played in Plat. Extra deck, we have Utopic Future, 2 Recital Starlings to get the search, 2 Nightingales. I do like Nightingale at 2. I feel like I only ever used 1, so I'd probably replace it for something else, or when I get the resources too. It'll probably be an Appaloosa, but I feel like I'll never go into Appaloosa with this deck. Granted that like there's so many other things you can go into, and Simorg is just ultimately a better card. So that's something, it's definitely in the works, but this card has saved me so many times. You literally, it protects your Lyrilusc cards from getting destroyed by battle, all card effects, and also for the rest of the turn you take no damage. You take literally no battle damage, so you can sit on this for a couple turns and stall until you get the cards you need, and then just stack it and just summon Zeus, and you just kind of like get so much advantage over your opponent. Obviously, you have to play the Utopic Draco Future, the Robin to bounce their stuff back. Almirage, I saw a lot of builds not playing Almirage, and I found it very interesting because you're gonna have a lot of decks or a lot of hands where you can't really go off unless you get one of your cards in the graveyard, and the quickest way to do that is to normal summon your Nervo, your Kit, or maybe even worst case scenario, you have to normal summon your Wagtail and then go into Almirage, then you have Barrow in hand, then you can keep going. So you have to play the 1 Almirage. Obviously double lords, 1 Fergie, 1 Simorg, best bird, 1 Rugal. I've had times where I had to Rugal to out my board, as in like my board was so weird I couldn't make Simorg at the top right corner, so I had to summon a Rugal. But there's very few situations that happen, but Rugal has won me the game before, where my opponent tried to threaten to destroy Rugal. I chain, I get the Nerval, and next turn I was able to either get Karis or Fractal in hand. So it's really useful. People don't really see it, but I would still argue you need to play at least one in the deck. And also, if your opponent doesn't read cards, they destroy your Rugal first, and you have your other cards in the field, you can drop their opponent's attack by an insane amount, and it's so cracked. Access code, obviously you win games, and then shoe reg, you banner stuff, you win games as well. Sometimes you can go shoe reg and then go into access code, and your access code is 6300, and then you can pop, that's one banish, and then that's at least 2 pops. Granted, you have either Almirage, a double lords, or some Morg in the grave. Anyways, that is it for my deck. I'm gonna be tweaking with this a little bit more. We're gonna get a new ban list hopefully for this particular format in a couple days, so I'll see and I'll tweak accordingly, and hope you all enjoyed the video. If you guys want to learn combos or anything like that, please let me know down below. I know this deck is definitely not the easiest to play, especially if you're starting this game and you're trying to play this deck. Yes, a lot of this deck is all normals, rares, and supers, but if you're actually legitimately trying to play Yu-Gi-Oh for the first time, this is a very hard deck to learn, and it took me a long time to understand it. From bronze to gold, or like plat 5, right? I was kind of cheesing it. I was making really mediocre boards, and then after plat 5, I had a friend sit down with me and teach me like literally step by step, like how to play this deck, how to get the most optimal boards. And I just realized I was playing the deck wrong completely the whole time, so I learned a lot from that. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed the video. My name is AkemiTCG. If you liked it, make sure to drop a like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
The world ends now.